Michelle.
Okay.
Hi, Moises.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us for we call it a roundtable of the graduate symposium. It's graduate students who are sharing their work and what they're doing. So thank you for joining us. We have Daniela and Moses here that will present together about media literacy and education in the Brazilian context. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I'll let you take it away.
Thank you, Yonti. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Daniela. I'm a doctorate student at PUC São Paulo. And my partner here today is Moises. So Moises, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm a graduated in languages and pedagogy, and I have a master's degree in education, and I'm a PhD student of communication and semiotics at PUC São Paulo. My dissertation thesis will be about media literacy education for children in elementary school.
And my thesis is about media education, the reading part of media education, but studying middle school and high school. So in certain way, yeah, I met Moises on the way, and our researchers, they talk. Yeah, they're complementary, I would say. That's why we decided to talk to you together. Oops.
Okay, so according to René Hobbes, media literacy is a practice of lifelong learning, equipping people of all ages with the ability to access, analyze and evaluate, create, reflect, and act using all forms of media to make meaning within a media-saturated society.
Why did we decide to teach media literacy, to work with media education? Where can we find it in the Brazilian scenario, and how it's being developed? How teachers are pursuing this here in Brazil? So as we know, fake news are disseminated very fast, much faster than accurate news. And according to Soares, the coordinator of UNESCO, 2 out of 3 content producers, they don't check what they are showing online. So, I mean, students, everybody is exposed to this, but in our context, as we are teachers and we are working with formal education, I would talk about students, okay? But this would be society in general. 2, they are exposed to this lack of credibility in the news, in the videos they watch in social media. Here in Brazil, this is the Brazilian scenario, yeah, throughout. So many people listen to music, radio, and podcast online. So we are exposed to these fake news, maybe if I could say that. Yeah, in a broader way. 72% of Brazilian people read news online. And this is a very serious content when it comes to fake news, yeah? In Brazil, there are some documents that regulate our education. So the UNESCO document about information and media literacy, BNCC, which is our Brazilian Common Core, the protection of personal data law. There is the Common Core of Computer Technology, EBEM, Brazilian Strategies for Media Education, which is very recent. As you can see, all the documents are very recent, including the law that guarantees media education in schools and also teacher education. Yeah, because that's what we see in our scenario. And now this year was launched this digital education guide to help schools implement media education. This is, so Moises is going to talk a little about the Common Core.
Okay, so competency 5 is related to media literacy in terms of communication and the use of technologies in a critical, reflective, and ethical way. It's also important to highlight the proposal of connecting knowledge. As Edgar Morin says, we need to connect knowledge in order to address the complex problems of our time. So, media literacy is not restricted to Portuguese language in this document. It is integrated into knowledge from different areas and can be applied in an interdisciplinary or cross-curriculum way. For example, subjects such as human science and natural science include contexts in which critical media analysis or digital content production can become part of the learning process. As we can see here, it appears in art and create and analyze artistic productions in Portuguese, identify the social function of the texts and in different media. In math, interpret and analyze data from graphs and etc.
So as you can see, it is in our common core, not specifically, not with the name of media literacy or media education, and there is not a specific subject. It's spread all around, and teachers don't know exactly how to deal with that. The law, specifically the law from 2023, it brings digital education as an umbrella term for all these other concepts: media literacy, digital citizenship, ICT. They call everything digital education, sometimes media literacy. So it's blurred, it's confusing. So much so that when Moises interviewed the teachers, and when they answered the questionnaire that I gave to some teachers, it's not clear for them. In their answers, they mentioned that, oh, I work with media education. I teach my students how to use Google Classroom, for example, or I use games in class. And they think this is media literacy. So
Yeah,
it's,
they connected
yeah,
media literacy with technology. If you are using technology, you are doing media literacy education.
as if it was only one thing. And the law doesn't help in that sense because the law is also confusing. So we separate concepts into media literacy as UNESCO, as the documents from UNESCO, to know the functions of the media, the bias, to know how media works. Media education is teaching about the functions of the media, is teaching about bias, responsibility on how to use it, to read between the lines. Yeah, all of these aspects. Digital education, we separate digital education in the sense of, as Buckingham states, is the use of tools as resources, yeah, technological resources in class. And also digital citizenship also appears in the law, but it's not clear. They don't explain any concepts, right? And it's
Okay.
important to, I think, to separate that, to teach teachers these differences, yeah, so they can work properly in the classrooms.
Okay. So I guess a couple months ago, I interviewed Mary Ox from Educa Media, and she explained a little bit about media literacy context in Brazil, emphasizing that according to some authors, as David Buckingham and also René Hobbes, media literacy is a set of skills we aim to develop, and media literacy education is the set of educational practices that will lead to the consolidation of this media literacy throughout the school journey. I guess you use these terms in the US. It's a little different in Brazil. So here in Brazil, as Danny said, we have several standards of media literacy, like Educommunication, que é Educomunicação, related to critical pedagogy, supported by Mário Kaplun, Paulo Freire, and Ismar Soares. We also have digital culture, education for media, digital literacy. And in 2023, the term media education, it means educação midiática, appears in an official document like a Brazilian strategy for media education, IBEN, influenced by the Educamedia. But as Marioc says, in the end, all the efforts are to build responsible autonomy in relation to the media environment. And okay, the first slide. And I brought a survey conducted by Instituto Quantas at the request of Educamedia. And here I will make a comparison between teachers who have not taken a media education course and those who have. So, sources and platforms accessed. Teachers in general tend to use mostly less reliable information platforms such as social media and message apps, which are not always clearly trustworthy. I guess you came back
Can change.
one, please. Oh, no, come back, please.
Sorry.
Hey, another one. Mais um. Você tem que voltar. Não, voltou, você foi para frente. Yeah? Oh, yes. This one. So I was explaining about this one. And the next one, please. As for the teachers who took the Educamedian course, it's noticeable that the source of information they use on a daily basis are more reliable, with great diversification in professional press and information available on interactive platforms. Okay? Concerning awareness to deal with fake news. Disinformation and fake news are a relevant issue for teachers in general and are a cause for concern for most of them. Okay. Use of media in classroom among teachers in general, the broadest objectives seem the most basic, understanding and dissemination of information. Go ahead, please. Among graduates of the Educamedian program, however, there is a demonstrated commitment to developing more critical skills related to media and information. So, as Danielle said, the teachers who took or have taken a media literacy course are more prepared to deal with media literacy concepts. So, go ahead.
Yeah, and how do we do that? How do we prepare teachers? Yeah, that's our main concern. The Brazilian government offered this year a course on media education and human rights. It's an extension course for one semester. Yeah, I think it's the first. It's an online course, and there are 8,000 students applying to this course. It's a way to spread, to do it in a, how can I say, to reach many teachers around the country, because Brazil is huge. Yeah. And this document, Digital and Media Education, how to create and implement the curricula in schools. So this is a booklet telling teachers, telling schools how to deal with that. And the Education Ministry offers some extension courses, online courses also on the website. But as you can see, this is all very recent. Would you like to add something, Moises?
No, that's fine. I guess go ahead.
And apart from the governmental initiatives, there are individual efforts. Individual from teachers, like, as I said, I interviewed some teachers. Few worked with fake news, but I've seen some other initiatives from teachers in the north of Brazil, in the northeast. They try to bring this topic in their classes, but it's, as I said, individual initiatives. And as a school, I've been doing a course with my teachers at my school, but there are like 13 teachers. It's not enough if you consider. It's only in our context, in our small school in São Paulo. And there is also, as Moises said, Educamedia, which is a non-governmental organization, and they give online courses for teachers and for society in general, right? Not only for teachers.
Okay, so I guess I was remember here that I made a folks group in a school in São Paulo, and they have not taken any media literacy course. So I realized that they do something about media literacy, but the very beginning, like when you work with text, asking who is the author, what is its purpose, but it's not enough. But I know that in another schools in São Paulo, there are some programs related to um, edu communication that they have these programs, and I have interviewed some teachers from there, and I see the difference. So we have teachers more capable to do, but I guess if they take the course, they will know to do it better. So the conclusion is, although media literacy has only recently become a concern in Brazil, we already have many regulatory laws, and new legislation targeting big tech companies is currently in progress. This is very important. Regarding teachers and their media education practices in the classroom, it is observed that those who take media education courses are better prepared to teach children how to deal with fake news and misinformation. So this is our conclusion. And I had an idea after made a folks group. I had an idea to interview uh, teachers who have taken media literacy course. So I keep in touch with them, and I made an interviews, and we still talking. And I have more. How can I say? More findings about it. There are lots of teachers that have received the rewards and participate in the context about media literacy education, but it's very different to those who have not taken any media literacy course.
And our efforts are to see that, and that the government promote more courses like these, more teacher programs, developmental programs, to how can I say, to do it faster, because it's 2025, the law is just so recent, and the government is too slow in preparing the teachers for this context.
Yeah, in 2023, we had the first Brazilian Media Literacy Week here in Brazil. So
Yeah,
we are going to the third year only.
we are very slow in our initiatives. So that's a little bit about the scenario here in our country. If you'd like to ask any questions or to comment anything, you're more than welcome.
Well, first of all, thank you very much, Daniela and Moses. I'm always intrigued how the Brazilian context and the US context have so many similarities. Obviously,
Yeah,
there's a lot of differences, but the big problems, it's very similar. So I have several questions that are exactly about those things of what we are experiencing here. But first of all, I want to see, Michelle, do you have any question? Go ahead.
my phone. It lost battery. So first of all, I would like to thank you, Moises and Daniela, for the presentation. I'm Brazilian too, so and I'm working with edu communication for more than 15 years, and also researching and being the field. And of course, we have edu communication like 25 years, and we have um, some things that like laws in São Paulo municipality that is from 2004 about the communication in schools, formation, teachers formations since 2001 in Brazil, in São Paulo, that we had the whole municipality that has more than 1 million of, I think I don't remember the numbers, but it's a very big because São Paulo city is a cute city in Brazil, and many all meetings of edu communication in Brazil, like annual ones since the beginning of 2000s that are promoting those informations, and we work with media education and media literacy too. So different, we have some methodologies and reference that have the uniques, but I think we all working in the same direction, trying to develop those things. So I think we have, for the size of Brazil, we have many works and many projects and many laws. We have in Mato Grosso, and we have in Brazil also a governmental one that put edu communication in the environment as a law that is for the formations of the environment education, for the environment, for the health public too. So I was thinking about how is incredible the works that we are doing here and there, and how is important to have those laws that we um, acquired because it's so hard to do public and education and to guarantee the initiative. So those recent ones are a very big, very something that we have to be very proud because it's really hard. Also, I'm seeing here in US, living here now, how it's hard to have those kind of laws that are governmental, that are for all countries that can help you to prevent and to stimulate media education in schools. So that's incredible have those, and thank you, Danielle and Moises, to bring that because I think this is very big achievement that we had there, and also with the technology, social medias, our laws about that are developing and being very important for our reality there. So.
And do you think, Michelle, that the law, I don't know if you had the chance to analyze the law, but do you think it's a bit blurred? The concepts are still confusing or not? Because this is my
I,
point of view and from what I've talked to the teachers. It's not clear
yeah.
for them, these concepts and what they do.
How was your interviews for teachers? Which
Teachers,
kind where, which city or
they're from São Paulo.
the municipality, the cities of the municipality or from outside?
No, from
The,
the ones are in the city. Yeah.
um,
São Paulo
Mm.
City. I'm
yeah,
trying to reach more teachers throughout the country because, of
mhm.
course, São Paulo is not the only sample that we would like to have. Yeah. We'd like to have a
Mhm.
broader sample because Brazil is huge. But so far, I got only answers from teachers in São Paulo, in the city of São Paulo.
Mhm.
And you tried to ask about the communication too, or just about media education?
Just about media education.
Mhm. I'm asking about that because I worked for the municipality for many years as a teacher, as teacher from for the teachers, so a trainer teachers. So in São Paulo we have uh, a specific section
Mhm.
that is a communication section that give informations for students and for teachers. And when we passed for thousands of teachers in our courses, in communications courses, specific communication courses, from photography, video, with small terms to help them to coming and to improve. So because that I'm asking, because I'm working with those teachers and I know that it's very cute São Paulo, so it's
Yeah.
really hard to have a very good to achieve everybody because it's I don't remember now. I saw I think last year the numbers, but it was like thousands of schools, teachers, and students. So, but for my perspective, we have a lot that knows more and understand and use that, but of course with the conditions and the formations in their um, in their university formation, they graduate school, they don't have those kind of,
No.
that is a shame how they can be formed without having specific courses in their formation.
Yeah.
So it's a lack of formation, and the how to say, the hole is so big that will take a long way to fill
As
that.
you said, São Paulo is huge, let alone the country. Yeah. So if you
Yes.
can't reach even the city of São Paulo, how can we reach the country?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, but
that's
I recommend you to see the information that we have in the communication, the numbers. They are very cute, and we went and they know, and we work like critical reading of information, of news, the many layers, the engagement in the subjects, and how to understand the subjects from the students' interests. So how
great.
they choose, what they read, how they use to create. We have the agências de notícias, that the how to say that in English, the
News,
news
news.
reports inside of schools, like doing journalism in the public
Yes,
school. Those,
and
so
I'm
they
going to
do,
talk a little bit about it
yeah,
because
and they
as I wasn't satisfied with my folks group, I had an
mm,
idea to send messages to other teachers in a group where they took a media literacy course, and I found a teacher that she said that it's spread all over São Paulo, the communication
mhm,
programs with journalism. Is
yeah.
wonderful. But you know, my folks group I developed in a north of São Paulo, Perus. This is
Mhm.
Zona Norte, and I guess they haven't been engaged in it yet. But I heard it about it, and Edu Communication is doing a great job in the field on criticism, um, respect, um, autonomy for the children, so I discovered a lot about edu communication programs, and this program is spread all over São Paulo. But in this school, and especially in this school, they haven't said anything about it. Maybe it's because I didn't ask it. I
Mhm.
talked about media literacy education only.
Yeah, because we have two actions in edu communication in the municipality of São Paulo. One is the formation of teachers, the continuous
Yeah.
formations of teachers. So we gave them a lot of courses about to
Mhm.
help them to use the social media, blogs, fake news, misinformation, all those
Also,
photography, video, and we have also those news made from students in schools. So, but this project needs to have a professor, a teacher that embrace these projects inside
yeah,
of the
yeah,
school.
and
So, but we
accept
have
teachings.
many. yes, some thousands of projects inside, and since from kindergarten, we have some that like 3, 4 years old, and I work with many of those teachers, and I had do information for those agencies, so it's amazing. They produce videos, they produce news, they go to events, they interview, they
Yeah.
create information, they are empowered to search their communities and go around. And it's incredible how they develop many
They are very
media.
engaged on it.
Yeah, and
I heard
it's
that
the
from
number
you.
of Felipe
But is
Saldanha is someone that made a doctor in that made a dissertation recently about just these programs of youth news.
but you see, when from PISA, the results from PISA, the questionnaire from PISA, 82%, if I'm not mistaken, it's 82% answered that they had never been taught how to do a good search, how to distinguish which sites to search. They had never learned this at school. So this is
Mm.
another part of media education that it's really important, and the students don't see that they are learning that. Yeah, the results from PISA from 2020.
I'm in a Julie Coiro course now, and I just
Ooh,
studying about in US about the ability to reading text here, and it's amazing how here the numbers are like the real understanding about text is, and doesn't matter if it's a right digital, a news, is low in the youth today. That's really a
Yeah.
very big, yeah,
And
very
it's
big
also
concern.
most of the students answered that they can't tell
Truth.
opinion from fact. This is alarming. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Michelle, would you mind giving us your email on the chat so we
Yeah.
can?
Moises have everything, like my
Yeah,
WhatsApp is my
he
email.
does.
yeah,
So
right
yeah,
here.
ask
Yeah,
Moises
yeah.
if
You
you don't
have
mind,
extra.
and I'll talk to you.
Great. So
We
that's
met in Rhode Island.
that's part of what this forum is about, right? Creating those
Yeah.
connection and then brainstorming.
Yes, it was wonderful.
Sorry,
So I'm
Michael, we are talking so much, and Michael was.
Yes,
yes. So
Michael.
Michael,
I'm
what's your take?
sorry,
Because you're
Michael.
also doing a lot of research and you have your thoughts about the American like
Oh, I do. I have many questions and many thoughts. Thank you,
Wow.
Moises and Danielle. It was really good information. I just recently finished my doctorate at Vanderbilt, and my doctorate is in education, but I did focus on media literacy because I partnered with, namely, the National Association for Media Literacy Education, for
I
my project
see.
for my capstone, and focused primarily on helping them to measure impact among the very broad audience that they have. How is impact of their programs perceived by local stakeholders, as well as how can they improve their efforts broadly. But interestingly, in my day job, I'm a publisher for a nursing association, and I don't know how to say it because I don't know how my Portuguese is. I have none, but we call it CAPES, CAPES. That's the way I
Yeah.
understand the organization is that it regulates systems of higher learning in Brazil, throughout Brazil. And that is a different, more centralized structure, I would presume, than other Latin American, other South American countries. And, one of the fascinating things that's happening in the US with, at least I've observed, a more autocratic system, perhaps maybe Argentina or Hungary, there's a hostility toward media literacy. There's a conception, right, that fact checking is biased, and that when we are teaching media literacy and we are focusing on media literacy education, that it is indoctrination to a particular point of view rather than identifying false information, which you called false fake news. I
Yeah.
guess one of the questions I have is whether I mean, what would, if you could advise the Brazilian government, what do you think is the most pressing thing, the first thing that needs to happen? Is it about this confusion about what media literacy is? Because I did notice there was quite a bit of focus in your presentation on misinformation and disinformation as perhaps not equal to media literacy, but that perhaps is one of the pressing problems. So I'm just wondering, what do you think is the first and most pressing need in Brazil, and is that the same from the very young throughout college education, or does that vary just as the geographic regions vary? So I have any thoughts.
I would say that this clarification of concepts is essential so that everybody knows what they're talking about, that we're talking the same thing. And of course, teacher education. Yeah, as Michelle said, what they
Like a
did, or
PG professional development to
yeah,
all teachers, I like spread it.
You
Because we
mentioned,
already have many laws on that, many regulations we already do.
and where do those regulate? What assumptions feed those regulations? Is the confusion that you've described among teachers and students, is it the same? Is this confusion shared by the Brazilian government, in your view, or does the Brazilian government seem to have a more enlightened understanding of what media literacy and critical media literacy are when integrated into the curriculum? What is your view on these regulations and on these laws? Are they heading in the right direction? Are they clamping down on things like media literacy or fact checking the way some autocratic governments are?
I
I
think,
go
go
ahead.
ahead, Moises. No, please.
Well, I think they are going the right direction because we are already suffering so many attacks, and the students are suffering more than the teachers because they are in a virtual environment all time, all day long.
Yes.
So we might have these regulations, and we are going in the right direction forward to it. But only things that we have to learn more about the concepts. It's very important, and I guess this idea you will get more clearer in the end, but in the middle of the process. But I guess that we have like good regulations. Once, I guess 3 months ago, I asked the auntie about U.S. regulations, but I guess we have more than you do, and we are trying to put in action. So
Yes,
we
the
are
thing is to put into practice, yeah,
putting to practicing.
Well,
because
in the United
um,
States, my understanding is that only 22, I don't know, Vianti, if you have current data from media literacy now, that only 22 states out of 50 even have formal media literacy education in K through 12, and that varies radically across the country in terms of its quality. Um, and one of the primary questions that I always have about the curriculum is media literacy being identified as a separate discipline, and there would be time throughout the day to focus on media literacy, or is the approach more holistic and integrated throughout various disciplines because it touches everything, right? Because media learning touches all disciplines. So the question is, are the children being taught to be more critically minded? I think of Paulo Freire, right? That's that whole approach, which is unique to Brazil, I wondered about the state of that. It sounds like from what you're saying, there's still at a very rudimentary level, a misunderstanding about what media literacy entails
yeah,
and the various permutations of it.
as you said, I believe that it concerns all disciplines, all subjects,
Mhm.
right? The course that I'm teaching at my school, there are 13 teachers, and they are all from there is a history teacher, geography teacher, Portuguese, kindergarten, yeah, from English teachers. So they are all from different subjects because it concerns all of us, right? But in BNCC also, it's spread all around. So I think when it's not clear what to do, they say, oh no, this is from Portuguese language. Everything that is concerned reading, sorry, I'm moving. Everything that is concerned moving is from Portuguese teacher. So everybody leaves it for Portuguese classes. And this is something we have to work to change their minds, and because it's all of us. Like in science, there are lots of fake news. History, our former president wanted to change history.
Oh,
So,
yes, we have our current president wants to do that as well. So
you are in this, we are almost in the same situation, yeah. We've been there. No.
no, nobody's holding our president accountable for false information. Bolsonaro, at least, is looks like will pay a price, but
Yeah.
not the U.S. president. No, not so far.
Fortunately.
What a pity. So
Yeah.
I defend the idea to, and I talked about in a meeting, I talk about it. I defend the idea to have like a facilitator in every district
Mhm.
to help the teachers, because we have course, we have regulations, but when you have a facilitator closer from the teachers, it will be easier to spread out, because media literacy is cross curricular subject. It's not for one person to take care of. So if we have a facilitator to help this, the teachers around, I guess it will be better.
One last thing is, I'm wondering, how do you
Can
think, what about measurement of media literacy levels? Are there tools that you've identified in the literature or promising practices that you think would go some way toward leveling out the understanding across various age groups of what it means to be a media literate person? Tools or measurements of any kind that would be more centralized and give you maybe a common numerical marker or something to measure that? Because you mentioned that the teachers who have more understanding of media literacy, their students do better and they have better understanding and insight into media literacy. But by what measure, I wonder?
Through actually, I have seen it through the activities that they developed with the students. And during we were talking, you see that the students are getting more critical, are getting autonomy to do. But I asked about it. How do you measure? So how do you measure? How do you know that you've achieved your objectives? How do you measure that the students, and they said, while they are talking, while they are acting, while they start helping each other, while they are getting more autonomy. So I have not now, I didn't find like a standard to check it, but I guess during the activities with the observation of the teachers.
Yeah, it's more empirical
Yes.
than something that we can really measure. Yeah, it's
Anecdotal,
difficult
right?
to measure the knowledge.
Yes.
Sorry, how can I raise my hand in Zoom? I'm not used to use Zoom. I use more Google Meet, and I was like, do you know?
Do you see Ray's hand at the bottom?
No, mine is
React.
not
There is a
looking.
heart with React.
Well, it depends if
Mm,
you're on the browser or you have the app,
Yeah.
or like
That's right.
it's
I
all
am in
different.
the app.
Yes, there is a heart.
There is
Oh,
a
a
heart
heart.
written
Okay.
React.
Yeah.
Recognize range gestures like, oh
But now you
no.
can just say it.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're a
now I
small group,
understood.
but Michelle, do you see I've got the hand up right now and I clicked, at least I guess I'm in the web-based version and I just click
Mm.
lower hand, raise hand, but
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think
they might be quiet.
I found. Sorry, just to be polite and when to not interrupt anyone. I was very interested in Michael questions and what Moises said about have a facilitator. We haven't been seen in the municipality of São Paulo as someone very important. We have the poet that is a professor, or how to translate, orientation professor of digital education. That is a specific professor that has all schools has one. That is something that we had in law that helps a lot, as Moises said, to all CRUs, and Daniela said, as all CRUs professors and subjects that are in schools. And what we don't have, I think, the measurements as I was seeing in some text here that you do in US to measure the ability to some how to read and access information, something like that. We don't have a national system, but we have many information, many research places that makes collections about information. Also, we have one that's very big in Brazil that is seeing how the Brazilians, the people use children, the students, family, how many gadgets they have inside of their homes, when they use the internet, how they use the internet, why they use the internet, what they have in schools. So we have some no official, not from the government, that makes some research about that help us to understand a little bit better about the ability of the students. But I think having more those tools should be good. At the same time, that's so different, the cultures, and it's so hard to measure those kind of abilities, because sometimes they can understand better than us some things in internet, but they cannot translate in the same way in certain region in Brazil that they do in another one. So because it's so diverse, so different, but I think this could help us to understand better. We don't have as a governmental tool, but something that could be help us, I think.
We don't have that either in the US. I just thought perhaps if there's more central effort in a place like Brazil, that something like that I could see being applied across the board, even if it isn't a perfect measurement by level or region or overall literacy level or what have you. It's going to vary, but some tool to even out the measurement and understand so that you can compare levels over time would be, I would think it would be beneficial.
And this is a problem that 40 years and even more, I was just looking today at the research that was looking at transformative education and liberation, like for Yen kind of pedagogy. Like, how do you measure that students have been, learning about that? Very, very difficult. And especially when we're saying, like, when we're really talking about media literacy as contextualized, it makes it very, very difficult to measure.
Yeah.
We're coming close to the hour, and I think Michael and Michelle kind of covered a lot of the questions that I wanted also to ask about, how to implement and what are the ways, and it's, again, it's so important to hear about different case studies because there is a lot of similarities that we can see, but some of the differences are also important to point out because, like, the laws in the US are not as specific and don't allocate funding to have those special people. Like Washington State is the closest that have a coordinator, but that's also not her role because of the way that the US is, that each school district can decide on their own, that the school board is the one to decide the curriculum. So that's also something different in that sense, that the influence and the impact is different. But that's where we can learn from each other and see those kind of ways that we might be able to help. And the question of measurement, that's a big one. Anybody who knows the answer will be a very rich person because they'll have the evaluation everybody will look for. So
The million
Yes,
$1 million answer.
yes. So again, thank you so much, Moses and Daniela. This was very helpful to see. And my brain is all the time kind of like, oh, this is the same. No, this is not the same. And like, so this is great. And I really welcome those kind of discussions between us as to see like what can we do and what can we learn from each other. So any
Thank you so much.
last words or things that you want to say as conclusion?
Well, thank you for this disponibility. You were willing to help us, and we are really glad for that.
Yeah, just thank you for the time and for the conversation. It was really nice talking to you.
Yeah.
Likewise,
And
thank you for the
thank you
work.
for everybody, Michael and Michelle, that join us. Thank you so much. And see you in next webinars.
See ya.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.